Hi, I'm Noel and welcome to a tour of the cacti in my greenhouse. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a member of the Wiltshire branch of the British Cactus and Succulent Society, which I joined just over a year ago. Unfortunately, during the present lockdown, we can't have the usual monthly meetings, so I thought I'd make this video of the small collection I've built up over the last 3 years to share with group members and anybody else who might have an interest in cacti and succulents. I built this greenhouse 4 years ago, really to overwinter some of my plants and grow cuttings, but having moved a few of my cacti in there and seen them thrive, I started buying more and got rather bitten by the bug. Now I'll warn you, my collection is unimpressive by any standards. I hear the BCSS guys talking about their great big greenhouses and their massive collections, but I collect on a tight budget, normally buy small plants at sensible prices, so you're not going to see any of these big impressive things in here. By any standards, I'm a novice, but what I'm hoping is that I can get some feedback and advice from all you guys watching the video. I know a lot of you out there have many tens of years of experience, and I'm keen to learn as much as I can from you. Before I start, I must apologise for my complete inability to pronounce most of the names of the cacti, but I'll give it my best shot anyway. So come on in and have a look. So this was the smallest freestanding walk-in greenhouse I could get, which is a miserable 4'6" square. I expect you've got bigger cupboards at home, but at the time that was all I wanted. It does, however, have some advantages because firstly, everything's in easy reach, and I don't need a lot of floor space. I've just got a little bit in the middle here and everything's at hand. Also, it's cheap to heat. So I've got a 4-foot tubular heater down there, which is on a thermostat, and that's set to 8 degrees. So when it's a bit chilly, that gives a good bit of heat. But when it gets really cold in the winter, then I've got a backup heater down here, which the thermostat on that is set to around 5 degrees, and it seems to keep it just about on 5 degrees for the winter, which is great. And another advantage of being so small is that that ventilation isn't a problem. I read all these things about people having to use fans and banks of windows and louvres and so on to keep it cool in the summer, but when it gets hot, I just open the doors up full, and when the window there opens, then these may as well be on shelves out in the garden, so that's not a problem at all. To accommodate things though, and increase my useful space, I've put in 3 lots of shelves. So the middle shelves and most of the lower shelves are sort of traditional slatted oak slats, but the top shelves I've made out of some scrap industrial wiring basket. The idea of that is that they're a wire construction, so they let plenty of light through in between the pots, so that means that the lower shelves get a good bit of light. The position of the greenhouse isn't ideal because we've got the hedge there and the garage at the back, and the sun comes up over that way and goes down over there. But it does have some advantages. You've got to look on the bright side of these things, and in the afternoon this side starts to get shady about sort of 3 o'clock, something like that, so you miss out on that really strong afternoon sun on this side. This side stays sunny in the summer through till 6 o'clock at least, but that does mean that while all these guys are putting up their shading and painting the glass and so on, I don't have to worry about that. So another little thing that I've got here is I have a color coded system to identify where my plants should be in the greenhouse. So I've got yellow, which means that they should be in full sun, orange, which means that they can have sort of morning sun, they might like a bit of shade in the afternoon, and then green means you want to keep them out of too much strong sunlight at all. So I pop them behind the label, so we've got the label there, and then behind I put the coloured label, and I scribble a few notes. You know, that one says PM shade, and I've got others which might say water sparingly, so someone with such a bad memory as me can just have a look and think, ah yes, that's what I should be doing with that. So come a bit closer and we'll have a look at the plants. Starting off on the shadier side of the greenhouse, we've got a couple of bowls of lithops here. The one on the right I've had for 2 years, and the one on the left, this is my second spring with him. Now I don't know what they are. They're both doing quite well, very happy with them. Haven't seen any flowers from them, but if you could identify them for me, I'd be most grateful. Looking towards the back there's a few odds and ends. This chap here, I've no idea what he is, and I've no idea whether he's on his last legs or what. When I bought him, I've had him for about 5 or 6 years. He was a nice green colour. Then he went red and shriveled, and I just assumed he was dying, but he's hung on in there, and he flowers every year. You can see some little flower buds on the top of him now, and this little pup was on him last year, which when I was repotting it fell off, and that's doing very well. Although again, that was a lovely green colour last year, and now he's gone a bit red and shrivelly, but I can't see any huge problems with him. And moving along the back there, we've got some gymnocalyciums. Then down at the front there's a nice Rebutia perplexa, which flowers prolifically, so I'm looking forward to seeing that one again this year. And behind him a Mammillaria prolifera, which I got from Old Market Plants in Bristol. Then I've got a Titanopsis here, which I got from a club meeting last year, but I don't know if you can see there's a bit of splitting on the leaves. Now I'm assuming that that's because I've been overwatering them, but I don't really know, and any advice welcome, but I'm gonna cut right back on the water and see how he gets on this year. Then we've got a lovely Echinopsis hybrid there, which I got from Hampton Court Flower Show a few years back, and since I've moved him into the greenhouse he's grown really well. And over on the right hand side there's his brother, another Echinopsis hybrid, and the right hand one has lovely pink flowers and the left hand one has fantastic orange flowers. Really pleased with those. And in the middle, those of you who were at the club meeting last year where we had a bit of a show and tell, great evening, that was the one I brought in that I was really proud of, and still am, and hopefully he'll carry on growing this year. To the left of him, that's a Gymnocalecium that I bought last year at the Portishead show. Very spiky looking chap, and hopefully he'll do good things this year. Looking forward to some flowers from him, and a nice little Gymnocalecium there. Some flowers coming on him, and next to him a Rebutia. Then an Echinopsis subdutonata, which flowers beautifully. He came from Portishead 2 years ago and was just a single plant then, but he's clumping up beautifully, and I might plant up a couple of the offsets there. So next to the Echinopsis, we've got this little strange looking chap here, Rebutia hoffmanii. I was given him by my son, who had inherited him, and it looked like an octopus, the plant, so he very kindly gave me an offset, which I put on the shelf and forgot about it. About a month later, I couldn't find him anywhere, and discovered that I'd put a plant pot on top of him and he was flat as a pancake. But I thought, well, I'll give him a go anyway, and he fattened up, and then last summer he grew a bit, and now hopefully you can see there he's got some little flower buds coming on, so hopefully we'll have a good cactus in the end from him. And down here, this little Gasteria, that was from Maggie. Thank you, Maggie. Desperate for a new pot, I think. I haven't watered him because I'm waiting to pot him up. And behind him is probably my favourite cactus, which is a Mammillaria spinosissima variety pica, which I got from a flower show probably about 6 or 7 years ago as a single head, and he's just done fantastically. You can see he's ready to come out into bloom. And to the left of him, that hairy chap there, he's a bit of a nuisance because he's really active. He just keeps leaning towards the light, and every couple of days I have to turn him round. You can see, no, he's pretty upright at the moment, but he'll come right forwards, and if I'm not careful, then the pot will tip over. So I have to keep a close eye on him. And coming round into the corner on the sunny side, got this nice little Rebutia here, which you can see he's got some flowers coming on him, and next to him is a nice Labivia, which again has got some little flower buds. The hairy one behind the Labivia, I had him probably about 30 years ago, and he grew okay, and I had a couple of offsets which I grew on. Gave one to my mum. She had some success with them, and the original plant went years ago. And when I started putting everything out in the greenhouse, she offered to give me that one back. So that's great. Got a little bit of history there. We've got another Echinopsis subdutonata there, which I think that's a tufty variety. Then we've got you can see several Echinophosulo cacti. Now I know you're going to say to me, yeah, okay, that's actually called something different now, but with such a cool name and such a cool looking cactus, they will always be Echinophosulo cacti in my greenhouse. So there. And a little aloe vitro that hopefully will pick up this summer. I've taken some cuttings off him. A spiky looking chap there. a nice agave there that I think is going to green up a bit more. He's looking a bit dry at the moment, but he's had a couple of good waterings. Now this chap here, which I got from a Swedish furniture store, it was labelled up as Echinopsis irisii. Now I've looked it up online and I can't see that it looks the slightest bit like an Echinopsis irisii, and it has almost fluorescent flowers, beautiful flowers. So if you could tell me what that one is, I'd very much appreciate it. And coming round to the end of the shelf, we've got a nice little Frithia there. He grew quite well last year, came from the Portishead sale year before, and yeah, he flowers beautifully, so I'm hoping he'll get to a big clump at some point. And next to him, this Mammillaria bombiacina, that's got to be one of my favourites. It's just a stunner. I love the shape and form of that, and as you can see, he's coming into flower. Now I'm really excited about that because I haven't seen flowers on him before, and looking up online, you know, it has reasonable flowers. So yeah, he's a good one. And next to him, there's this rather sad looking Echinocerius Fitchii. Now I thought I'd lost him last year. I've had him for about 3 years, and he did really well for first 2 years, but he was in too big a pot. I now know he was one of the earlier ones that I bought, and he started leaning over, which is what the cocktail stick was doing to hold him up, and then I realized that he'd gone squishy, and I concluded that he was rotting. So I had a couple of offsets from him, which I put them in, and one of them has done very well. I've potted him right down, and I'm trying to minimize the watering, but you can see it looks like there's some good flowers coming on him, so I have hopes that he will do okay. Fingers crossed on that one. And next to him, this is my favourite aloe that I've come across, DZ. Got him from Portishead last year, and he had a little offset grew on him, which I've got inside, coming on nicely now. And behind that nice aloe has got some good flowers coming on there. Then we've got here this chap I got from Wisley last year, and he looks like he's doing rather well. I sort of think he might be a Gymnocalycium, but I don't know, and maybe somebody could put me right on that. But he's got some lovely flowers coming on there, which sort of seem to have dark purple tips to them. Not that that really means anything, they'll probably turn out to be a completely different colour. But that's it on the middle shelf. Moving on to the top shelf here, you can see that we don't have a lot of headroom, so along the sides it's all much smaller stuff. We've got a nice little mixture there, lovely Lobivia. When that comes into flower, it's a pleasure to see. We've got this chap here who I won't even try and pronounce it, but I've had him for a couple of years, and he had his first flower a few weeks ago, so that was a joy to see. Next to him, a Euphorbia obesa, which I've had for several years, and he doesn't seem to grow at all, but he flowers every year, so I guess he must be happy. And a little Rebutia next to him, tiny little thing. Down the bottom here in the hanging basket, a lovely Euphorbia something or other. Again, I won't try and pronounce it. My daughter gave that to me, and although it was looking pretty sad over the winter, it seems to be starting to spring into life now, so that's great. So there we've got on the left of the shot a Gymnocalycium and then a couple of Echinopsis hybrids, and that taller one just going around the corner there, that's an offset that fell off my tall Echinopsis a couple of years ago, and although I was annoyed he fell off, he's growing into a very nice plant now. And next to him is one for David. That's my Stapelia variegata that was a bit red and sad looking over the winter, but he's had a couple of good waterings now and he's really picking up. And just to the left of him we've got this chap here, which I've labelled up as a Mammillaria vetula because that was the closest I could identify him as. He was unnamed when I bought him from a garden centre, but if anybody's got any better ideas as to what he might be, I'd love to know. But you can see he's got a couple of flowers coming on him there, which is quite exciting because he hasn't flowered before, so I'm looking forward to seeing what we've got there. And then moving round here we've got a couple of plants that I got from club meetings towards the end of last year. This one looks like he's going to have some nice flowers on, and there's another of those ones that I can't pronounce. And over behind him a nice little Rebutia that flowers prolifically, and I can see there's plenty of buds starting to appear on him. Up in the hanging basket there we've got a Crassula Hottentot, which my daughter gave me last year for Father's Day, and you can see he's just finished flowering. Very, very happy with him, although I have seen some red flowering ones, which I sort of got my eye out for one of those. Then we've got a very spiky looking chap here. I guess he's a Mammillaria, and he's got vicious spines. You have to be quite careful when you're handling the pot with him, but again I don't know what variety is at all. Coming round into the next corner, I've got one of my favourite Echinophyllum cacti here, and you can see he's got some lovely blooms coming on him there, and he hasn't bloomed before, so I'm looking forward to seeing those. The one in the back corner, some sort of Mammillaria, don't know what he is, and he hasn't flowered yet, but he's a gorgeous looking little thing. And in front of him a Rebutia heliosa albiflora, which flowers like absolute nobody's business. Then we've got a nice cristate Mammillaria, I guess, which I got from a garden centre a couple of years ago. Haven't seen any flowers on him, but he's been growing well, and fingers crossed might get some this year. And this one here, Lophophora, this one was from Maggie, so hopefully Maggie, that's looking good, coming out of his winter rest. But maybe you can tell me whether I'm doing the right thing with him. Then coming on round we've got Lobivia. He tends to shrivel a bit in the winter, but as soon as I start watering him he fattens up, and in fact he's looking good now after having a couple of waterings. Then we've got Mammillaria schwartzii, which that's my first cactus flower this year, and very pleased with that. He looks like he's going to be absolutely covered in bloom, so that's going to be great. And on the end of the shelf here we've got this chap here, who I'm really excited about. That's the first time there's been any sign of flowers on him, and he's an Echinocereus rubispinus, something like that, and a nice Cactus there. This Neoporteria, as you can see, he's got some flowers coming on him, and I seem to remember last year when I got him from the Portishead sale, he had some fantastic flowers on, so I'm really looking forward to that. And that's it on the top shelf. So down here, this is the bottom shelf on the shadiest side, so this is pretty well the shadiest part of the greenhouse. Doesn't really get any sun down there for from about probably midday. Now we've got a Cactus, a couple of Parodias and a couple of Huerthias. This gorgeous Parodia there, from what I've read online, it said avoid strong midday sun, which I've got him down, why I've got him down there. I'm not sure whether that's right, and any advice would be most appreciated. And on the lower shelf on the sunny side, I've got I think that's a biting stonecrop on the left there, which I know he's not a greenhouse plant really, but he flowered fantastically last year, and I just like keeping him in here with the other stuff. Then next to him there's a nice little Cactus, which again came from a Swedish furniture store towards the end of last year. Down the front there I've got one of my favourites, Compton Carousel. I bought him from the Wisley Flower Show 2 years ago, and the first winter I kept him indoors, and I just got this peculiar long stem grew, but then last year he turned into a pair of beautiful plants, and towards the end of the year you can see that little uncoloured offset growing at the back there. So I'm just worried that something's going to go wrong with him and he's going to drop dead, because looking online a lot of people say they have trouble with them, but yeah, he's doing nicely and moving on round some aloes and a sempervivum, and that's it on the bottom shelf. And finally, down on the floor, because these are too big to go on the shelves, I'd have the shelves down, a couple of nice chaps. The one on the left, I grew him from seed probably 20 years ago. I'm guessing he's some sort of Cactus, and he just gets bigger and bigger. Never had any flowers on him, but he's a lovely chap. And next to him we've got something that I got him from Loudon, and I think he's an Echinocactus grusonii, something like that, but you don't normally seem to see them in clumps. I'm guessing someone had one and they sawed the top off it and it clumped out, but I don't know. But he's a lovely chap, and he's grown quite well, grew a fair bit last year, and yeah, what more can I say? Lovely chap. Well, if you made it this far without falling asleep, then it can't have been all that bad. Hopefully it was better than endless daytime TV repeats. So please get in touch with any identifications you may have, advice, or just let me know whether you've enjoyed it. And if you have, then I can do some updates showing you how things are coming on, and looking at some of my trays of seedlings and young plants that I've got indoors. Alternatively, why not grab your mobile and show us your collection? It's got to be better than mine. Just before I go, I'd like to give a big thanks to Derek and all the team at the Wiltshire branch of the BCSS. They must put a huge amount of effort into arranging a really good series of events through the year, and thank you to them. So thanks for watching, and until next time, enjoy your cacti, enjoy your gardening, and stay safe.